What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's not a podcast. It's the Slamcast live. Not really live. We're live recording this.
Live to us.
It's live to us, damn it.
Yes.
Joining it again in a slightly less magical world. It's been a topsy-turvy world in the world of entertainment. I know this is not really wrestling-related stories, but the world is slightly less a magical place, as Miguel put it, with the deaths of David Bowie and now Alan Rickman. I mean, Hans Gruber was the best heel character in
movie history.
Well,
look what I just shared on our absent colleague Dave Wade's wall.
Yeah, I saw that.
For the love of God, people, somebody keep an eye on Ian McKellen.
Yeah, it's former circle of protection around Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. We can't lose any more magical British people this week.
No.
Protect Maggie Smith. She's a national treasure.
And throw in Michael Caine just because it's.
Oh yes, Michael Caine too. Jesus.
Yes.
Christ. We can't stand to lose that. So
Hans Gruber, the greatest movie villain of all time, and you can't teach that.
Arguably the greatest movie villain of all time. I would still say Darth Vader, but that's deep water. That's lofty company.
That's all gimmick though. That's all gimmick. Darth Vader's the Goldberg of movie villains.
Doesn't need to speak, barely speak, and he just kicks everybody's asses.
Yeah.
So, all right, I guess we should kind of start off where we left off last week. Right as we were signing off, we kind of broke the story that Shinsuke Nakamura...
Coming to America, starring Shinsuke Nakamura, coming to WWE Network somewhere in the future.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
I'd watch the shit out of that, but...
Yes.
It has been officially confirmed by New Japan and various wrestling news publications in Japan that Shinsuke Nakamura has tendered his release to New Japan and has since been stripped of the Intercontinental title and has even been officially given a farewell match at the end of January to a 6-man tag with Chaos. That's Okada. Oh God, who is? I should know this. Anyway, not relevant.
But yeah,
it looks like it's actually happening. There's been no official confirmation from the WWE.
Right, but there isn't any official denial too.
Exactly, and they've basically the way they're handling this and covering this on their website is that it's happening, but they just haven't worked out the particulars yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been reported by various internet outlets in America that after he has his medical in February, that's when the official announcement will come, because I think they're probably trying to see if there's any lingering injuries or what sort of condition he is in. I'm just waiting every day with bated breath for more on this. This has been by far the most interesting story for me of 2016. This whole story, the Bullet Club situation gets a little murkier because there was reports that the WWE was in the process of buying the Bullet Club trademark from New Japan, and there have been some reports that said they have been unsuccessful. But Luke Gallows does own a similar trademark that they could use if they wanted. Gets a little dicey from there, but I'm optimistic, man. I seem to think that if this were a non-story by WWE, they would come out like the Daniel Bryan story that we'll talk about later on this week. They would come out and deny it if there there's no truth to this rumor whatsoever, they would say, no, we're not interested in signing this person. Or he's not. This is not. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. No, nothing to see here. Move along. The fact that they are kind of playing it up like, oh, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. We're not saying anything, leads me to believe that everything that we are hearing on the outside is probably true. And we see it. And you have to look at it this way. It does make sense because WWE is launching the WWE Network platform
in Japan.
later this month. I think it's in February, I think is when it actually launches, February 5th. I don't have actual dates in front of me, but I think that's the date that I heard. They're going to need a big star in Japan, big face to help launch that. And I think
Well,
Sorry, what were we going to say?
I was gonna say, how far is Kenta off from his injury?
I think he's probably not that far, but there's star levels. Like, I think Nakamura is a bigger star in that country than Kenta.
Really?
I absolutely think so. Yeah, I think the popularity of New Japan compared to the popularity of the Noah promotion, absolutely, yeah. Noah's kind of hit a little bit of a hard time and a rough patch, and they've kind of moved back to being the number 2 promotion as opposed to being the 1A promotion. So I think, Nakamura being, the history that he's had with New Japan, the guy that didn't work, or that they tried to push but didn't work, and then, built now a historic, legendary career around being himself, I guess, or morphed into this King of Strong style character, created something that people could get behind.
See, my biggest fear with Nakamura, and it's going beyond the whole rice hat comment that I always like to make, but I bring up Kenta because when Kenta comes back, well, Hideo Itami, for lack of better terms, what are they going to do with 2 Asian wrestlers? Because the whole uniqueness of Hideo Itami when he came in was he was their big Asian star that they were going to cultivate, and now they're going to have 2. So what are they going to do with something
I think
like that?
Nakamura is going to be, whereas Hideo Itami was an Asian star that had a following in America. Nakamura is a major star in Japan and becoming a major star in America. So I think there's levels. I think Nakamura is absolutely a bigger star in both countries than
My biggest fear is that they're going to get lazy and just put Kenta and Nakamura in a team, and they're just going to have those 2 guys be a tag, like an Orient Express kind of thing.
or my thing, they'll get lazy and they'll just basically try and recreate the Chaos stable. So it'll be Nakamura, Nakamura, Hideo Itami, Asuka, just for the sake of it, and then they'll throw somebody else in there, and it'll be just like sort of like
they'll bring back Funaki just to be their mouthpiece because he could translate for
he'll
them.
be the Gato.
He'll be the official interviewer for the
Nakamura.
Chaos faction.
Yeah, for Nakamura-san.
Yeah.
Well,
although I've heard that Nakamura actually does speak English.
He does speak English very, very well. Yes. So they won't have to worry about language barriers or anything else like that. I've also heard that they're purchasing the theme song, which to me,
Nakamura.
That was the biggest thing I was hung up on. Like his theme song for him is so iconic. So the fact that that's gonna potentially make its way over is gonna go, I think, a long way to help getting that character over, because it's going to be something people are familiar with. Those that are familiar with them, I think there are people that watch WWE that do watch New Japan. I think that is a bigger number than people will give credit to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that brings us to another question, and you guys are gonna have to kind of fill me in a little bit more because I'm not too big on New Japan. But who do you think is next up to get the IC belt?
Kenny freaking Omega.
Kenny Omega, yeah, I think he's
I was going to say it's a good thing you mentioned that up, Miguel, because I was going to try and mention that. Now that we have this, there'll be a tournament held, and I don't know who's been officially in the tournament, but the tournament winner will face Kenny Omega for the vacant Intercontinental title. What I'm hoping happens, and I'm hoping he's ready to be back into competition. I don't know his health status at this point. I hope Kota Ibushi wins the tournament because if we get a intercontinental feud with Ibushi and Kenny Omega, that's going to get a lot of people watching New Japan, I think, and I'm going to make people watch it because that's going to be must-see wrestling. The things that those two guys will do in a match will blow people's mind, and this will just be like a regular non-title match. Even these guys will pull out all the stops and good promos too. So yeah, I think it's going to be Kenny Omega's belt to win, and it's his time to shine. Also, I just really hope Ibushi's going to be there. We could see Michael Elgin potentially move into that role. I heard New Japan is very high on him after his G1 performance and his World Tag performance with Tanahashi. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. New Japan seems to be handling themselves well. They're definitely coming out on the short end of the stick. They're losing their
Some
second.
of their biggest talent. But
Yeah. The number one, they're losing their third biggest star. Like, this is a guy that they've created. This would be like WWE losing Randy Orton to TNA or Randy Orton to New Japan or something like that. Like, this is a big deal. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, somebody like that leaving the company at this stage in their career, or obviously who's been around as long as Orton has been. Brock Lesnar, like somebody like that, The Undertaker,
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan going someplace else. Exactly. Like they're losing big talent to not really a rival, but somebody who's you know competing for space in the market, or who's dominating space in the market really, when they're just trying to break into the market. Uh, so they're handling themselves pretty well. They certainly have the depth in the roster to handle losing talent like that. And I think, and I hate to say that Nakamura, if anybody of any of the big three was expendable, Nakamura was the most expendable. Obviously, you don't want to lose Okada because he's the youngest, and Tanahashi has been your ace for so long. In fact, that he's made that his gimmick. Where if you had to lose one, that would probably be the one that they would have chosen. So, yeah, man, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi food. That's what I want. That's what I want to see from this tournament. Other people who I think could win, I don't know. Maybe Goto. Maybe it's he just got married. Who knows? There's a lot of potential winners in that. Maybe Makabe. Who knows, man? Who knows? But Michael Elgin, watch out for Michael Elgin. If he's actually in the tournament, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes far in it because
that would be a huge boon for Ring of Honor. I know that they've been wanting. I don't know if he's re-signed with Ring of Honor or
they have a relationship with the two, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if he goes far in the tournament, or even dare I even say maybe even wins the tournament. But I don't think they'd be really willing to pull the trigger quite just yet, and I also think Ibushi Kenny Omega is a better ending or a better feud to go with because there's history there from when they were in DDT. There's no rivalry there. They're both coming up from being junior heavyweights to heavyweights.
Right, because Omega, he was right on that limit, wasn't he?
He was 220, and you could probably even say that there might have been some rehydrating because Kenny Omega is a big 220. So yeah, we'll see. It's certainly Kenny Omega and the Elite's time to shine now that they're They're the premier Gaijin stable. Interesting times, man. Interesting times. But well, let's move on from that story because that's really all we know at this point in time, and nothing's been officially confirmed. All just hearsay,
It's
conjecture,
all speculation, but I did order my shirts just in case.
Very
You know?
soon, I think at the end of February, those Shinsuke Nakamura shirts might not be around anymore. I'm trying to order my King of Strong style shirt if I were you. I might try and do the same, sir.
Yeah, well, I got two AJ. I ordered, $100 worth of shirts on my payday, so.
You keep pro wrestling tees in business. I'm sure they're very happy.
You really like how many? I easily now have a shirt for every day of the week. So
We very easily have a shirt for every day of the week. They're very happy with you.
well, and when it comes to when you have a guy like AJ Styles or Nakamura who it's looking like they're heading to WWE, they're not going to be on there anymore, and
you get on that bandwagon fast.
yeah.
So,
And the thing is,
of,
I'm genuinely a fan of both guys. I mean, they had easily, arguably, the match of the year already in 2016.
they definitely have that conversation on lockdown.
Yeah, and I've been a fan of AJ Styles for over 10 years, so you kind of see what.
See, I think AJ's the real wild card because they haven't really said all that much about him, and he's kind of in this weird point in his career where he's also probably nursing a bit of an injury, so he might want to take some time off.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see AJ for a while, no matter what he does.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of what I was going to talk about it now because this might as well get it out of the way because it's something that did happen this week. Everybody's favorite former professional wrestler turned comic book artist turned mixed martial arts enthusiast, Phillip Brooks, aka CM Punk, has rumored to be an opponent, but has also been confirmed to be in the new UFC EA Sports game, and even has an official rating that drew some heat and some backlash to the fans. As the internet needs something to get mad at. CM Punk is sneeze. CM Punk rated an 85 by EA Sports. Some people judged that to be far too high. I being one of them, but I didn't go complain about it on the internet.
I don't give a shit either way. In all honesty, I don't care.
I was going to complain about it, but I was too busy complaining about the PWI 500, so I had a bunch of other things that are doing shit that I need.
What's your gripe with the PWI 500? Please share this.
Oh no! I was talking shit about the fact that it's something that really has no bearing on the grand scheme of things that everybody on the internet was pissing and moaning about.
Numbers. I mean, it's really only to the top 200 or so because basically the last 100 or so guys basically pay to get on there, and they're like, it's. I put it this way: I know people that were on the PWI 500. That's how I know these things. Guys pay. Guys like say, hey, here's whatever, how many bucks can I get in the PWI 500?
Please.
Fucking Shinsuke Nakamura should not be at 5th with Roman Reigns being at 4. Exclamation point, 1 exclamation point.
Oh God, so funny. It's so ridiculous. It is insane.
I mean, this is literally at this point 70-something-year-old Bill Apter's fucking opinion on TV.
Gotta love Bill Apter, man. Keeping kayfabe alive since the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Is wrestling fixed? I didn't even know it was broken.
Oh no, it's broken. We could have told you that. We could have told you it's been broken for a long time. But anyway, going back to the CM Punk story. I mean, we were talking before the episode started. CM Punk is on that dangerous point of irrelevance at this point.
I think UFC blew their load, so to speak, when they had this. Like, they knew they had him in the bag, but they wanted to capitalize on the buzz around him after the Cabana interview at a period of time when they were just about to do a major press conference. I think they were on the verge of signing the Reebok deal. If that hadn't been announced yet, I don't want to credit CM Punk with helping secure that. But that certainly might have helped that. Um, so I just, I think there's they needed to capitalize or needed to drum up some interest in this commodity that they had, and by giving him a high rating in the game is get one way to get people to talking and to be rumors to start, or to start the ball rolling on who he might actually fight and when. They got to do something. So now's the
Well,
time to do it.
well, supposedly the fight is between, it's the number one contender fight they've got lined up to face this guy. Apparently, the fight is between. I had the tab up, but I got to roll back down for it. It's
I've heard
let's see.
Mickey Gall.
Yeah, Mickey Gall versus Michael Jackson, no relation, at UFC 196, and then whoever wins that will go on to face CM Punk. There's something weird about the UFC having a number one contenders match to face a random guy. Like, I can get it if it's a champion, and I guess in WWE if it's like for the when it was for the streak at some points, that was
Something to be
okay,
prominent. But you're basically the guy who's going to break in CM Punk to real fighting, and probably.
I guess it's UFC. They want to make it a big deal. You're fighting this guy. I get that. It's going to be big business for UFC to do this.
Is it though?
I think so.
At this point.
I think he's going to sell a lot of pay-per-views in Chicago. I think that's going to be a big thing for him.
Is UFC 200 going to be in Chicago?
I don't know. I think UFC 200 would be in Las Vegas. That seems to be the.
Let me look it up quick.
Yeah, I think that seems.
I assume Vegas.
Yeah, that's a landmark event for the company. I assume they go back to Vegas for that.
Yeah.
But it's going to help sell that pay-per-view in that city. But like I said, they've invested a lot of money in them. They've invested a lot of time in it. So I think they're trying to get something on their investment. And now
Las Vegas Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. Yep, it's in Vegas. Yeah. So, and I get because Vegas always seemed to have been home, for UFC. It's always been where you seem to get like the big events. It's always like a big deal. They're always in Vegas, and it's
a fight week in Vegas is a big deal.
Yes, so it's landmark event for the company. Obviously, it's going to be in Vegas. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking at the list of their like top ranked middleweights, and I'm trying to think like who's a guy on the bottom end scale that has enough of a name that people can get excited about, and I can't really see anybody because once you get to like names, you're getting into guys that are like super duper talented, like
legitimate contenders.
Yes.
Like right now, I'm looking at RankingMMA.com has a list of like the top 47 that they have ranked, and at 22, I think the first name from the bottom up that I see is that I recognize is Ed Herman, and he's at number 22, and I have a feeling this guy could probably whip CM Punk's ass. Like, there's nobody there that's a name that they can really feed to him at this point. Unless you can convince, oh God, what was his name? Oh, what was red hair? He fought Vanderlei.
Oh, Chris Lieben.
Chris Lieben. Unless you can convince Chris Lieben to come back from come out of retirement to face CM Punk, maybe CM Punk could probably beat him. But Chris Lieben knocked out Vanderlei Silva. He's no slouch either. But
there's also a lot. There's also a lot of mileage in Chris Lieben, and there's Chris Lieben has gone over the hill as far as his
career.
Talent.
Yes,
talent and career will take him.
Shit, at this point, if I know that we're about to get into the fight, that we're about to get into this next bit of news with Vanderlei, but shit, if you had him still under contract for one more fight, put him against CM Punk. That's a freak show fight, but I would have loved to watch that.
I would not do that to CM Punk, man. That's like literally throwing him in there against the wolves.
You know what? CM Punk could knock Vanderlei out at this point. I'm not.
I think so.
Yeah, Vanderlei. Do we want to keep bitching about UFC's video game, or do we want to go into the Vanderlei story a bit?
Yeah, we go to the Vanderlei story because it is.
Yeah, it's really not worth complaining about, but it's the fucking internet. Everyone complains on the internet.
Yes, I absolutely think he's absolutely overrated at 85, but that's.
And I don't care.
Game's also not also that. Yes, the game's also not out yet, so that could change. So let's relax.
Watch, I can imagine Punk just going up to the mix saying, yeah, so these guys are getting butthurt, bump me up to a 90. I want to see what they'll do.
See what they do now. Then
Just the inner troll of CM Punk, you know?
Yeah. So in an end of an era, what I think is an end of an era, Miguel kind of disagrees with me. UFC recently announced the release of Vanderlei Silva. I mean, certainly, who was instrumental, somebody who I think was instrumental in the come up of that company, wasn't ever somebody that they built around, but who was somebody that they put marquee fighters against, and it was always a tentpole fight for them, at least in the vital early days of their, rise to help get them to where they are now.
Right, and after the days where it was almost, compared to human fucking cockfighting,
Yeah, no. He was certainly one of those people that helped transition it into a legitimate sport into, where it was.
And evolved it from where it was legit, it was like boxing against wrestling, or where it was style versus style, and now it's a legitimate literally mixed martial arts.
Like the combat sport.
Yeah, it's a combat sport. It's just, it's fucking awesome.
I'll give I'm not shitting on Vanderlei. I think he, in the history of mixed martial arts, is a huge contributor to it, especially when you look at his Pride days, because he pretty much carried Pride. I mean, him,
he was the attraction.
Fedor, and I think you could put Dan Henderson in there, were like the three big draws for that division, for that company. I think my big gripe with Vanderlei when it came to UFC is he never really lived up to that mystique, in my opinion. I don't think he lived up to it, because I'm looking at his record from when he debuted in 2007 for the company to his final fight. I mean, he was on pretty much a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to 4 is not too bad, I suppose, but I mean, he never really, the mysticism was off by that point. They waited too long. He waited too long to come into the sport, honestly. I think if he'd have come in early on, like say like 2004, for instance, I think he really could have cemented his name in UFC's history. But by the time he came in, I mean, they got the fight with Liddell. They got the fight with him and Jackson, which I know they built up a whole huge rivalry with. But I don't know. I just, as far as UFC is concerned, I'm not buying his part in the history. In all of MMA, sure, but I don't think he made as big a name in UFC as a lot of people make it out to. And he's had also a lot of issues with the drug tests and whatnot have kind of clouded that in a sense. The weirdness with his contract within the last 2 years has kind of, I don't know, made it a bit of an unnecessary watermark on his record. But it is unfortunate. I've said it before, though. I think we'll probably be seeing him in Bellator by the end of the year. I think they're going to want to get that freak show fight between like him and Tito, or him and Stephan Bonner. That's what Bellator does. So we'll probably see that happen.
Oh God! But we haven't talked about what an absolute shit show Bellator is at times. Like some of the fights that they pull out with. I think they're promoting Gracie Shamrock. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, wasn't it? I watched a fucking Ken Shamrock fight over the summer
in 2015.
Ken
Shamrock. There are people that are competing in UFC that weren't even born when Ken Shamrock was still in MMA.
Yeah.
There are people competing in UFC or the high levels of MMA that were born when Ken Shamrock was making his money in WWE.
Really? My buddy Tim Welsh is signed to Bellator too, so that's another thing.
I'm
not saying it's a bad company, but it seems like
I'm not doubting their talent.
I know, I understand. I know where you're coming from.
They are the proving ground for talent coming up in this sport, but what they draw people in with
are the freak show fights.
It's like the fights that no other company or no other. Where are they getting these fights sanctioned? What athletic commission is sanctioning? Like, is the NSAC really sanctioning Gracie Shamrock at while they're in their God, they gotta be in their 50s already, at least.
Shamrock at this point, I believe, is in his 50s. Television.
It's okay.
I was
We're
trying
gonna.
to use the OK Google thing where you
51.
talk into it. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that.
I just you trying to use talk in the Google. Nice.
Fuck you, Google. That's gonna be the title of today's episode. Is fuck you,
No,
Google.
we had it. We had it. What we're gonna call it?
The social outcasts are White New Day.
Social Outcasts or White New Day. Yes.
Ooh, what brought on this title?
I just that's the way I compared them to, like when I
Who are
saw
the
Yeah.
social outcasts?
Social Outcasts
Heath
are
Slater, Curtis
Slater,
Axel, Bo Dallas, and
Adam Rose.
Adam Rose. Yes.
Basically,
Oh, God.
Job Squad 2016.
If this were if this were TNA and Vince Russo were still writing for it, they'd probably be like, they're fighting for the lower class guys, the justice of the lower card division. So let's call them the social justice warriors. Thanks, Vince. Clever fucker.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, the social
This is a big.
justice war.
That's trending right now on Twitter. We get Social Justice Warriors trending on Twitter right now, bro.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me right now, bro? Vince,
Ugh.
hashtag Vince Russo impression. We just were talking about too, and I thought this is something that deserves to make the podcast. Just like an abstract kind of thing. Would Vince Russo solve the creative problems if, the things that made Vince Russo work was when they put the governor in the form of Vince McMahon on him to filter out the shitty ideas that Vince Russo would have, and then pick out maybe the one or two gems that you would find, and that's what they went with. If they had that system in place again, where someone would filter out all the bad ideas, and then Vince can pick out the one or two good ones that he likes. Would that help the creative stagnancy of the roster right now, or is Vince Russo over that this person has no relevancy left in modern wrestling?
I think the problem with Vince Russo is they tried bringing him back in. There was a story where I think right after the invasion he got hired in, and he left because A, he had to work with a creative team which he wasn't used to, and B, he was pumping out shit ideas. I think this would have been in 03, because I think at one point he pitched the idea of redoing the invasion angle, but this time with Goldberg and Steiner and a bunch of the guys that had signed after the fact. The problem with WWE isn't so much not having the ideas or not being able to find things for people to do. It's laziness, and I've said it before. I can't believe that a team of writers that come from shows like The Walking Dead and Breaking Bad, as a lot of the guys that they've announced that are on their writing team are, can put on a product that boring purposefully. I feel like at the end of the day, it's Vince McMahon being out of touch. And I know we've said that for years, but a lot of people also like to blame the creative team. Like, oh, these fucking TV writers don't know what they're writing about. Maybe they don't know the difference between a headlock and a wristwatch, or a wrist lock and a wristwatch is the platitude. But they know how to write good television. And that's really all you need at this point. The guys on the roster have proven they could put on good matches. Now you need the good television to go with it. And I think those guys could. Unfortunately, their gatekeeper is Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon, at the age of 75 or whatever he is at, is not the same Vince McMahon that he was in his early 50s back in the Attitude Era. I think he's just kind of past his prime. It's like when, I forget which football team, but they brought back Mike Ditka in the 90s to
The Saints.
coach the Saints. It was the Saints that they brought him back. Yeah, they brought him back in the 90s to coach, thinking that he could pull the same magic he did in the 70s, and it just didn't work. Some guys just are past their prime, even though they have a name to them. I think Vince
past
is
their time. Time has passed them by. Is that what you're trying to say? Like time, the wrestling business has passed by.
Yeah,
the
that's why
creative
I'm
talent of
thinking,
Vince Russo.
that's why I said before in this podcast, Vince, just duck out, go spend more time with your grandkids, enjoy your golden years, please.
Not even, because I think from a business standpoint, the guy's second to none. I think from a business standpoint, he's doing awesome. I would not want him to leave the WWE completely, but Vince McMahon could do so much good to him if he just stepped aside creatively. If he just said, "You come
He
up with the
has to
idea."
micromanage everything. Yes.
Yeah, you tell me what you want me to do on screen, and I'll do it. Or even better yet, don't even be on screen, because I know he said for years he never wanted to come back to TV because he felt he was just too old for it. So at this point,
And then he comes back and he's kicking Roman Reigns in the nuts.
yeah, like a guy like Vince McMahon, the best thing he could do is to just tell whoever's in charge, you come up with the idea. You come up with the idea. I'm going to trust you to make the best foot forward creatively, and we'll go from there. Like he did in the '90s, like he did with Vince Russo, like he did to an extent with Chris Kresge, who was the writer after Vince Russo but before Stephanie McMahon. If he just found somebody who can put out ideas that he can put his he could put his trust in, I think you would have a much better creative unit. But he's just the bad kind of gatekeeper at this point.
Triple H, bro.
And Vince Russo is not that. As much as I joke about how, I think back like, could Vince Russo do a better job than Vince today? No. Vince Russo has clearly proven himself. This is the same guy who came up with the idea of bringing in Kevin Owens as the son of Adrian Adonis and doing a fat man gimmick.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Oh God.
let's not give him any more credits. We joke,
bro,
but
that's a great idea, bro. Okay, like that would
Oh,
totally get
God.
over.
listen. Kevin Owens is never, ever, 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 ever gonna get over just being a fat guy in a t-shirt. What you need to do, listen, bro, listen. I got the plan, free of charge. I'm not gonna listen. You can listen to me, bro. Vince, I know you're listening. I know you've been tracking me ever since I left and went to TNA. I've tried making calls to you to come on to the creative team. You never brought up, you never, brought him back. You're busy, I understand, but Kevin Owens needs to come back as the son of Adrian Adonis. Listen, bro, people will love it. It will get over. It's a license to print money. Okay? Do you see what I did in TNA with the Shore? Do you see what I did in TNA with Robert Roode and Eric Young? That was a whole 3 years of gold. I'm telling you, bro, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm the one that came up with aces and eights. All right? I know what I'm talking about. Eric Bischoff, he didn't come up with it. Somebody stop me right now. I'm really starting to make myself sick with this skit.
It's actually going pretty good.
I was on a roll. I couldn't stop.
I don't know. It's pretty good.
I let you
bro.
run with it, man. I love it.
I'll bring Vince Russo back a couple times if I get bored. That'll be my character.
That's good.
Oh.
That's good. Everyone has to have the shitty gimmicks on the show. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just thought the way how bad Raw was this Monday. I wouldn't say Raw was bad, but
The crowd.
the crowd was just
Awful.
I don't know if what they were actually expecting to happen. Maybe because everybody thought, Bullet Club was going to show up, or like, there was going to be some major announcement or something.
Or whatever it was.
But there was just nothing. I thought we were going to get a good segment out of Jericho and the New Day. Didn't happen. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't terrible, but I mean, on paper, that seems like must-see TV. And then
I did like the comment, whatever Jericho said that wasn't insanely, it wasn't PG, and he's like, "Dude, you can't say that, it's a family show," which again hilarious, but
I think the problem with the crowd for WWE, and I had a feeling this was going to happen, is they got one good episode of WWE Raw, one really good episode, and they got their hopes up. And I think you're slowly this is the lull that always happens when WWE puts on one good episode of Raw. It happens after WrestleMania. There's that one good episode, and then slowly but surely people start slowly retempering their
expectations.
viewpoints, their expectations. Because I think a lot of people probably went into that episode of Raw that was really good at the end of the year thinking, all right, this is going to be the turnaround. They're going to start pumping out consistently good episodes. They've got a plan. They're going to move forward. And it takes a while for people to slowly get back into the swing of things of WWE really didn't have many plans moving forward of that. They had one good episode, and that's pretty much it. You got to wait until the night after WrestleMania before we get another one.
So basically, when the crowd will jump the shark again.
Yeah, they kind of they overexerted themselves. I think they need to just ease up a little bit and kind of remember that, yeah, it's WrestleMania, but it's still WWE. So they're going to try a little bit, but it's not that, like I said, wait until the night after WrestleMania when they really do try. Right now, they're kind of in the motions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're getting ready to build into the Royal Rumble, so.
And seeing the Royal Rumble is still not taking shape yet. We still only have one match, and that's the Royal Rumble match, which the title will be defended on.
Yep.
Has Ambrose and Owens been confirmed for Royal Rumble? That's the only other match that I know that they're really storyline that they're working on that really has a match. Maybe we have a Kalisto.
We want to get into that real quick because that's hard to think. So I went use the fucking bathroom. All of a sudden, I come back and Kalisto's won the U.S. title.
Well, I wasn't surprised that it was happening because I knew that I kind of figured they probably liked what Kalisto was doing, and he had certainly earned a right to take the United States Championship and have a run with it. But for them to just literally take it back the next day,
oh God, yes. Welcome to WWE, where everything is even, Steven, and no one gets the fuck over.
Well, wait a minute. Let me ask you guys a question. When Kalisto won the U.S. title, was it on Raw or SmackDown?
Raw.
It was on Raw.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say if it's on SmackDown, don't worry. No one cares.
No
SmackDown does.
It didn't happen. If it happened on SmackDown, it didn't happen. I know.
You could fucking have Kalisto win the WWE title on SmackDown. No one will care.
Really?
Well, he loses the next day back to Alberto Del Rio, and that's what doesn't make sense to me about it. Yeah. Why do it at all if they were just going to put the belt back onto Del Rio the next day? Unless they're going to trade wins back and forth, and that's going to be the feud going into
gimmick,
WrestleMania.
In a sense, which...
Yeah, I don't know what the point of that was.
I think they probably had a good idea, but then, like I said, somebody decided, let's not try too hard. Because I feel like, I don't want to say it was just hot-shotting. I want to think that they have something planned for Kalisto, because I think Samurai Del Sol is very talented. And they need a masked gimmick character, after Sin Cara flopped. But I don't know. I don't, like I said, it goes back to the laziness thing. I don't know if they want to put the effort to try to get Kalisto over.
Well, it's like they need a new, Latino star. And you would think this would be the time, like, all of a sudden, Cena's hurt. He's going to be out a while. He's going to be out past WrestleMania. Sin Cara's hurt. Hunico, I should say, because Botch Cara is...
Sin Cara, it's Sin Cara 2.0.
Yes.
Well, I think that gimmick itself is just absolutely cursed.
I think that mask is cursed.
It's the gimmick itself is cursed.
Mm-hmm. And it's like all of a sudden now, here we go. We're gonna put on Kalisto, and you can at least give him some kind of run with it. No, we're gonna just put the belt back on Del Rio because, again, Del Rio's another guy that's looking more towards the end of his career than the beginning of it.
Listen, we paid a lot of goddamn money to get him out of that AAA contract. God damn it, we're gonna use it to its best abilities.
We paid a lot of money for that gimmick. We're gonna use every bit of it.
Yeah.
Yep. We had to get Del Rio from Lucha Underground. Damn it. I know. Lucha Underground, January 27th.
Yeah, you're salivating, aren't you? I'm hoping it comes on demand so I can just watch it. I know there are places on the internet to watch it, but I'm just,
I'm so sad that Lucha Underground isn't on Hulu yet. Like, I would binge the entire series if it popped up on Hulu.
I thought they were absolutely perfect for, Netflix or some sort of streaming service.
Yeah. Amazon, maybe?
Amazon, something.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, they still got the ORA deal, which is great because at least it gives them a budget that they can keep up their high production standards.
Yep.
Yeah.
And still only use 2 replays in an entire season.
Oh, buddy. But, all right, let's move on. What else were we going to talk about?
Let's talk about the biggest news from Monday Night Raw then. Our first inductee into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big news because I think it might say something about where Sting is in his career if he's, getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Is that it? Like, is he done? Was that match that he had with Seth where he gets injured his last match?
I hope not, because I still think, especially given how small the roster is going into WrestleMania, I think if there was any chance for them to finally pull the trigger on a Sting Undertaker match, this would probably be it.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think just his injury right now is going to prevent that from happening. So that's why um, they're they're going to move on, and they're going to just say, all right, here you go, Stinger. Here's your ring.
Well, let me ask you guys a question, because I've seen this debated all over the internet for years now. Is Sting Hall of Fame worthy? Because whether it's the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame, certain other Hall of Fames that are out there, everybody tries to make the argument that Sting is Hall of Fame worthy, but every professional wrestler that I've seen do interviews or talk about it, a lot of guys within the industry say no, he's not Hall of Fame worthy. He never drew a dime. Um, what's your guys' thoughts on that? Do you guys think he is as a career he is Hall of Fame worthy?
I absolutely think he's absolutely worthy.
Yeah.
He was the face of the WCW franchise for
Mm,
a very long time,
yep.
especially during the dark period before the NWO.
Well, he was
Uh,
a face, but
he
there.
was the only star that company made.
Well, arguably, DDP and Goldberg, but
I
Well,
think
the question is how big of a draw was he? Because yeah, he was a face, but he was a face in the same way that Triple H in the early 2000s was for WWE. He was a big star in the mix, but he wasn't a guy that, with the exception of 1997, I would ever see as a guy that really drew huge numbers on his own for WCW. I mean, that was Flair, and then Hogan when he came in obviously drew. The NWO as a whole drew. 1997, yeah, he had the Crow gimmick and he was a huge draw, but that was on the back of the NWO storyline.
yeah, but before that, he there was all that history when he was the draw of the company, when Ric Flair went away to WWF, he was the focus of the company. So yeah, that was a significant portion, and he does deserve to go into the Hall of Fame for that. Yeah, he hasn't really done a whole lot since he went on the 15-year exile after WCW.
he was in witness protection basically for
Yeah,
15 years.
yeah, exactly. Um, but is somebody who still, in my opinion, is worthy of the Hall of Fame designation.
Okay, fair enough. Now the question I have is the question I also want to ask is, do you think he's going to be the headliner? Do you think they've got one more name in the pipeline that's bigger?
The hell was
What was
that?
that?
Sorry, it was the 2016 Sweet Brown. Have you seen that woman? I said, "Hey."
Fuck.
Oh,
Oh
Oh, is this
Jesus.
is this another one of those hide your kids, hide your wife kind of
yeah,
meme things?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh man.
All
this
right,
this
but
this woman, the face this woman makes is fucking.
Uh.
Can't even. Anyway, um, edit point.
yeah. Question, is there one more name left that you could think of that WWE can induct
I
this
think
year?
there's many more names. Believe me, I have a whole short list of Hall of Fame people that I think need to go in. I think
Well,
they
no,
need to.
do you think Sting is going to be the top headliner? Do you think they're going to
Sting
headline
is.
Sting?
I think Sting is going to probably be the marquee name, but
Yep.
there will be a lot of people then there that you'll want to see go into the Hall of Fame. I think the Freebirds are due this year. I think
Yep.
it's now or never. If you don't do it in Texas, if they didn't do it in Atlanta, they have to do it in Texas. So I think that's the year they finally honor Michael Hayes. It's the Susan Lucci of WWE Hall of Fame finally deserves his moment. I've heard Stan Hansen be bandied about. I think that's another great name to honor, Texas wrestling history, and Stan went on to also have a huge career in Japan and in America. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
So he's absolutely worthy. I've heard JBL be bandied about too. I think it's a little too soon on JBL, and I think if they do that, you're making it a little too Texas heavy. I'd also like to see Owen or the Bulldog go in. I think the time has finally come. I think
They just released the Heart of Gold deal,
yeah,
Owen Hart collection deal thing. So DVD.
I think now is the time. Clearly the relationship has smoothed over. Owen Hart is probably the only other big name I could say that probably deserves to go in other than Bulldog.
Mm-hmm.
So, will we get to see that? Who knows? But it's certainly.
Do you think they're gonna blow their load with that for this pay-per-view? Because I feel like if they've got one set up for Canada within the next few years, they're gonna wait for that. Because I think a Heart Foundation.
I don't know if I see. I don't know if they'd go back to Skydome because it's really there's only really 2 or 3 venues in Canada that can support WrestleMania.
The Rogers Center, which is former Sky Dome, and
Yeah.
what else?
Vancouver's BC Place, which is a large retractable. BC Place is in and of itself only 30,000 roughly people, so you can really only get maybe 40,000 people in BC.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 70,000 that you could get in Rogers Center. Which that then you have to if you're doing WrestleMania at Rogers Center, you'd have to do WrestleMania early because you can't interfere with the Blue Jays schedule.
Like, well, I mean, they could have a situation where it's just like the East Stand incident, and they could just have a wrestler dress up as whoever's managing the Blue Jays. Just have Vince McMahon kick the shit out of him. That's the WrestleMania main event.
I'd be shocked if Vince still couldn't do anything physical. That guy, he keeps himself in such insane shape that.
Tiny referee shirt. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes.
I love Vince in the tiny referee shirt.
Yes.
So that's my Hall of Fame class. I don't know if anybody else has any other names. They want to add to that.
Yeah, I like JBL. Yeah, you kind of want to leave him out of this one because otherwise it's too Texas heavy.
It becomes let's honor everybody from Texas.
It becomes Texas Appreciation Night,
Exactly. I think they got maybe Liger. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised if Liger goes in.
Liger would be one definitely because they've introduced him. He's
certainly reinvented how the cruiserweight, light heavyweight wrestler works. And talk about a guy who's had an iconic gimmick. And something that could maybe even live on beyond him.
Yep.
I just had one thought, but it's gonna get laughed at.
What? No, it's not that.
I was thinking, all right, we need a female induction to kind of.
I thought about that too. Molly Holly was one that I kicked around.
I thought about what female wrestlers from like the old days were famous for being in Texas, and I thought like World Class in the UWF. The only one I could think of was Missy Hyatt.
You're right. That would get laughed
Missy
at.
Hyatt. Oh my God.
I don't know if WWE would ever do that, especially the precedents they set with the whole China thing. Although Missy has never done anything hardcore wise, but I mean, we've all probably seen the photos at least once.
Certainly done a number of other things.
Yeah. At least will she end up like Sonny and sell her Hall of Fame ring? I don't know, but
that's another good one too. Jeez, that's the Sonny situation can get any weirder. Yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
I don't know about Missy Hyatt, but that's certainly. It's certainly. Oh man, that's.
Wasn't she the one that had the loaded Gucci bag? I'm trying to think. I think I remember hearing like Austin talk about her on his podcast. It was like it was a loaded Gucci bag.
Yeah, she was the one that held all the drugs.
say what you want, but in that UWF World Class days, she was a huge name there. I mean, just being a manager and like almost like the Sherry Martel almost.
No, I don't get one during that time. She was that, but everything that's happened outside of the ring, I think, has disqualified her from ever being honored by
a PG family friendly.
Yeah, because I think if they they do that, they have to also acknowledge everything that happened outside of wrestling.
I guess. I mean, they inducted Sunny into the Hall of Fame and didn't acknowledge any of her less than stellar track record to an extent, you know.
Of course, she hadn't started whoring herself out for money.
Yet.
Well, I mean, there was the Wrestling Vixens website, which was a Missy Hyatt creation. In fact, honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that Sunny's, gone downhill as it was, I probably would have suggested she be the one to induct Missy. But, that's just Mark thinking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I don't know. I'm just spitballing because I can't think of anybody else from that Texas area that would be a female induction at that point. Marlena, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe Marlena, maybe Jacqueline.
That's not a bad one. Miss Texas, yeah.
Possibility.
Maybe have Jeff Jarrett be the induction if you've heard the stories about them.
No, I think Jeff Jarrett wouldn't be able to go there because he's like, I can't promote Global Force.
Yeah.
Damn, I ain't coming.
Did you ever hear the story? Did you ever hear the story Jamie Dundee told in one of his shoot interviews about Jacqueline?
He probably said it like this though. I'm Jamie Dundee.
Yeah, there was one story that he did. It was actually on his U shoot where he was like, I walked into a dark room, flicked on the light, and Miss Jackie was on her knees with Jerry Lawler's dick in one hand and Jeff Jarrett's dick in the other, and then I just shut the light off.
Oh God!
This was back in USWA.
I just shut the light off. I'm like, hell man, I ain't coming in watching this.
Well, New Jack said that too. He's like, every promotion that Jeff Jarrett's ever been in, Jackie has been following him around. And I thought back to the fact that she was in TNA for a little while. I'm like, all right, I can understand that.
Yeah, because they had her in TNA one point paired with Bear Money.
Yeah, she's Jeff Jarrett's hoe, as New Jack so eloquently said it.
It's his side. Well, no, he probably wanted to marry her, but like he's probably so southern and traditional that he's like,
don't buy into that.
I can't marry a black woman.
Yeah, don't buy into that grieving widow BS of Jeff Jarrett. He's got his history. If you've ever heard what people have to say about him,
it's a side piece.
Yeah, everybody's got to have one. Everybody in wrestling, at least.
Yeah, ask Seth Rollins. Oh,
snap!
I can't hate on him though, because actually Zariah's pretty hot. So.
Yeah, no, he's.
I had a horrible joke I was gonna make. I was like, I don't know whose privates are more Hall of Fame worthy, Missy Hyatt's vag or CM Punk's dick.
Oh.
They just about have the same track record as far as as much action as they've had.
Oh damn! Oh, we are on fire tonight.
Snap.
Once again, proof again that we are horrible people.
Yeah, no, this podcast.
And if by some grace of God we make it through the pearly gates, everyone else has a fucking shot.
Oh, I'm on my way to hell. I don't care. I know it. I've got a one-way ticket to the ticket. God damn it! I got a one-way ticket down there. I'm content with that idea.
Yeah, I'm going to hell. Just accepted it and moved on. Have we hit all the bases?
I think that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else. I did run across
we finally now know what the extent of the Beyond WWE relationship is going to be. Oh, sorry, not even Beyond. Evolve. Got my Northeast Wrestling promotion or my independent wrestling promotions confused.
There's a Beyond promotion?
There is a promotion called Beyond Wrestling. Yes, should check it out. It's very good. A friend of mine works for them. We now know the extent of that relationship, where Jason Jordan and Chad Gable are going to be a part of their tag team championship tournament.
I think they're just there signing autographs, but Regal's going to be there scouting talent too, and.
I thought Jordan and Gable were going to be competing.
No, not what I read. I heard they're just going to be there signing autographs, but.
I was led to believe by someone telling me that they were going to be competing in the tournament. That's where it gets to me. The plot thickens. This relationship is going to be
interesting. Yeah, it's
interesting and growing even further. We'll see, though.
Hold on, I've got the article right here. Let's see. Let's see. As noted, quoting WrestlingInc.com, as noted, the next move in the working relationship between WWE and WWN, which is Evolve's network, is NXT General Manager William Regal, Chad Gable, and Jason Jordan appearing at the January 23rd Evolve event in Orlando during Royal Rumble weekend. So, from what it sounds like, it's just an appearance.
Just
They're
an
signing
appearance.
on.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, you know what? I don't think they would risk Jordan and Gable. Now that I'm, coming to my own senses, I don't think they would risk Jordan and Gable getting injured at a non-WWE show. And then also, if they don't win Evolve's tag team titles, what does it say about them? So, yeah, it's good to know that they're still going to be in the building, and they're at least WWE is at least acknowledging another company running in their backyard.
I still to this day don't understand the relationship between WWE and Evolve. Is it?
I think it's going to be a talent scouting and sharing.
But at the end of the day, any sort of business ventures have to run through Vince McMahon, and I can't believe.
I think it's going to be NXT. I think it's going to be NXT mostly.
You think so? You think Vince is just kind of turning a deaf ear and a blind eye to this one, and just letting Triple H make these deals? I mean,
I think because Triple H is he's allowed. It's his brand. It's his deal. He's allowing
a certain amount of leeway, and he's just like, "Hey, look, Vince, I've set up this deal with this other company, kind of like you did with ECW, where we have some help from them. They help us. Everybody shakes. It's mutually beneficial for both parties, and we get some new talent out of the deal. Where even so it's more beneficial for us because we're taking all the best talent, or any talent we feel we can use."
I'm just wondering where Gabe Sapolsky runs in all of this, because I know WWE's had their eyes on Gabe Sapolsky for a while now, even dating back to his Ring of Honor days. I know he's a protege of Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman, yeah.
I want to believe, in the grand scheme of things, that there might be plans to maybe bring him in once the whole Evolve thing runs its course. But I got to be realistic and even say, like, what would that do? Could Gabe Sapolsky really work in an environment where the head of creative is still Stephanie McMahon and the chairman is still Vince? I don't.
I think Gabe's enough of a wrestling man where he would at least give it a shot, and then if that didn't work, he still could get any job in the wrestling business he wanted.
Yeah.
And then just go right back to Evolve or whatever promotion he wanted to. So
yeah,
I think he's also probably got a wife and a mortgage and maybe kids, so might not be able to turn down 6-figure income from WWE or whatever it is.
Well, we know Tommaso Ciampa couldn't. He signed a contract.
And he's a smart man for doing so, and he's one of these guys that they don't have to change a whole lot either, as I think Tommaso Ciampa is ready to go. Maybe they can't use the same name as him, but the Sicilian Psychopath, that's a character and a gimmick right there.
I can see them maybe putting him with Enzo and Kaz as kind of like their like muscle or anything like that.
They're a tough guy. He's big. He's Big Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy Salami or something.
Tommy Salami.
No, I don't think they're going to change his name at all because he's been established as Tommaso Ciampa on.
Yeah, here's the Sicilian Psychopath.
Yep.
It's got a certain ring to it.
Badass.
Fuck yeah, it is. So, I think that's it, man. I think we hit everything.
You want to talk about the Ronda Rousey stuff with her not, competing at 200 or?
I mean, they're certainly doing everything they can to protect her. Yes, they're not going to make her fight Holly Holm in the rematch at UFC 200. They've also said Holly Holm could fight anybody else, so they've pretty much put the big rematch between Ronda and Holly Holm in jeopardy of being a title fight by letting Holly Holm fight Misha Tate whenever she chooses to do so, which I think might not happen at 200, but might happen sometime before that. I think maybe 197.
Yeah, that's the big
The
one
one
that's happening. Yeah, 197 is when this is.
one that's they're talking about doing that. So again, they're just the UFC is doing everything they can to protect one of their golden geese in
Yep.
Ronda. Not really good for Ronda because that's really just kind of giving Holly Holm more time to prepare and more time when Ronda's going to be doing the other thing. Ronda's still attached to the Roadhouse remake that they're doing. She just got dropped from some other project too. I don't know if the project just got dropped or it was specifically her, but I think Ronda needs to focus. Decide what she wants to do for the rest of her career, whether or not she wants to compete in UFC or become an actress and do whatever she wants to do in that form. I think, shit or get off the pot. She might not have very much time to do so. That window might be closing pretty quickly for both of these things. So, decide. Because I don't know if she could do both as well as she would want to do both. Like she obviously
I think she's gotten a big enough name at this point and enough notoriety. I don't think she honestly needs the UFC anymore.
No, absolutely not. I think she's really fighting, still competing in the UFC just out of her, foolish pride at this point, and
Well,
wanting.
not so much foolish pride as is. At the end of the day, she was dedicated she was a dedicated fighter. She didn't just kind of fall in.
She was a martial artist, exactly what she was.
Yeah.
Yes, that is everything that she's done in her entire life. But now these other opportunities have become available to her. She's taking them.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just walk away from something you've devoted, over a decade plus.
Your entire life to.
Yeah.
Basically, because she was like a protege in judo.
Yeah.
So, I understand that is one thing that's always going to draw her back, but I think the talent pool of Holly Holm, or the stand-up ability of Holly Holm, has far surpassed her. Well, far surpassed her even going into the first fight.
Yeah. I think she's kind of falling into the same spot Brock Lesnar did when he came back from his diverticulitis. Like
Yeah.
he's been made mortal, and now to try to come back after the fact is just, it's not going to be as plentiful, or the mystique is going to be gone by that point, and I don't think we're going to have much to look forward to with Ronda moving forward. I think she was so hot for so long that as soon as she lost it, the mystique was gone at that point.
It was
I think
dead,
Yeah. Once she became defeated, the luster around her was gone, and even now, like, there's really only two fights people want to see from her. It's a rematch against Holly Holm to see if she gets the belt back, and then Cyborg being the be-all, end-all fight that everybody has wanted to see for several years now.
Yeah, we're never going to see her versus Carano, which I know that was a huge fight that they wanted to do, but that's pretty much gone off at that point.
Yeah, we'll see it in some movie, though. I guarantee you.
I think in the 7th, don't they fight in the 7th Fast and Furious? I know they're both characters, if I'm not mistaken.
Don't even remember. Can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah,
was Ronda in Furious 7? I don't even remember.
Ronda was in Furious 7. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's how that's how they came to know each other. Okay. I remember now.
I don't remember if Gina Carano was... Good?
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Ronda at WrestleMania this year, too, by the way.
True. Will we get that, a big payoff to what happened last year when she about snapped Stephanie's arm and hip tossed Triple H on his ass?
We will see. We shall see.
I really hate that, honestly, just to kind of go off on a tangent, because I've been very vocal about my disdain for Stephanie McMahon as a lead villain on the WWE product, because I feel like that puts them in a situation where they can't have anybody to touch her.
Yeah, no one gets their, revenge.
Yeah.
Because she gets to cut the balls off of every male on the goddamn roster, and then she gets away with it. It's
Yeah, and all the marks out there and all the social justice warriors like to say, like, you're wrong, man. They had Ronda Rousey come in and what, do an armbar on her? Like that's
not even
the
that. Just
justification.
threaten her. Just grab her by the arm. Like, yeah, I could snap your arm off if I want to, bitch.
Yeah, like that's not a justification for how the fact that Stephanie McMahon is just a bad villain. Well, she's not a bad villain, but she's a bad wrestling villain because there's no catharsis there. But that's just a issue that I've had with Stephanie
Well,
McMahon.
I also feel the same way about Ronda coming into the WWE. If you bring Ronda to the WWE, she essentially just becomes female Brock Lesnar and destroys everybody. And maybe build Charlotte and like Paige as the only two women that could even maybe hold a candle to her. But everybody else, Asuka maybe, Charlotte, Paige, and Asuka. That's about it. Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Paige, Asuka, and Becky Lynch. That's it.
Yeah.
I believe she tears through Bayley. I believe, as much as I love Sasha Banks, Ronda ragdolls her.
Yes.
I don't know why. I'm just saying Paige has a chance. I want to believe that.
Hello, Knight family.
Hello, exactly. Not trying to get the Knight family to show up at Dave Wade's door.
Yeah, the problem you have with that in that regard is you're bringing a fighter who has proven realistically to be able to beat people up
Yeah,
versus a bunch of women who, well, let's be honest, as good as some of them are, a lot of them are coming from avenues such as modeling and things like that. You have a few indie talents there, but at the end of the day, it's still fake fighting. It's hard. It's easier for Brock Lesnar to do it because he came from wrestling and went to
Yeah.
UFC and then came back. But you're having a UFC fighter come into the WWE. How do you have anybody really get over on her without
exactly.
without it being ridiculous or exposing the business?
That's exactly why I don't believe she should come to WWE, because it would just be bad. There's no going back from that, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but like legitimately, like maybe Asuka, there's only a few on that roster that would be
people.
a legitimate
4 people.
Yeah, contenders. Other than that, she rips through Eva Marie, she rips through Cameron, rips through the Bellas, rips through Alicia Fox. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Would Ronda be good for a one-off and like build it up as Ronda's coming in to get revenge on everybody that Stephanie McMahon has neutered over how many years?
Or something. I don't know. You're entering in dangerous territory when you bring her in. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we've filled more than enough time on the show. That's about an hour worth of content. That's enough. That's all you get out of us for the night. All right, you ready for the Iron Sheik tweet of the week, Nicholas? Then we're going home.
Cue our music.
Hit the music.
Fuck him! I dumped him! I wanna know, are you the man or are you a fucking piece of shit? No good motherfucker! Fucking bullshit!
And that's right. So it was. Shouldn't say slim pickings this week, but Iron Sheik surprisingly quiet on the Twitter this week.
Mostly just tributes to dead people.
Yeah, I mean,
giving his respect.
There was some talk about the football, but not a whole lot elsewhere. But there was one notable one that we had to go with, and old time sakes, first Iron Sheik tweet of the week of 2016. What could we do without this one? Cincinnati, bigger jabroni than the real Virgil. And after the way they lost that game, absolutely true. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
Fucking bullshit!
Yeah, see, Vontae's perfect is a real jabroni after his play in that game.
I mean, they bangled it.
God, and Marvin Lewis still has a job. If you ever feel incompetent in your job, just remember Marvin Lewis is still the coach of the Bengals, I think. Pretty sure they haven't fired him yet. Anywho, plugs.
Miguel, you got nothing again, so
Nothing at the moment.
yeah. Well, I'm over on YouTube at the Gaming Pegasus 187, Twitter Gaming Pegasus 187, Facebook Nick Horaceck in the Wrestling/MMA Revolution Facebook group. I'm over on Instagram Pegasus 187, Xbox Live, Wii U, same damn thing. I mean, I'm all over the place. I'm busting around working and just doing the same old shit. So yeah. Brandon, take us out.
You grinding, son. You grinding. Yeah, so again, you like this podcast, you like professional wrestling, you should go support professional wrestling in its most basic stage and form in your local municipality, wherever you live. I guarantee you, there are people that are trying to put on wrestling shows in front of you. Support independent wrestling, folks. It's where this great business of ours that we love so much, really is truly birthed. It doesn't. Nobody goes straight to the WWE. You see people that really earn their stripes and put in the work on the independent circuit. So yeah, go do that. You can check me on the Twitter, Brandon All Hope. Check out Premier Pals this Sunday. Me and Sean are doing live broadcast of United Liverpool. Should be fun. Yeah, man. So for Miguel Leon, for Nick Horaceck, for the absent Bristol Brawler, for the birthday boy Michael Burhan, who just turned the big 3-3 this week. Or is he 34? I don't even know how old he is. Should probably tell him that. Anyway, for Michael Burhan, whose age I do not remember, I'm Brandon Liggan saying go forth and spread beauty and light. Peace, love, and hauntiness. Play my theme song, go home. Yeah, oh motherfuckers, it's coming.